The idea of factoring a trinomial nowadays is kind of gone by the wayside. It's not taught very much anymore, but yet the ability to factor does come into play when you do some things in college algebra and when you do some things in calculus 2. And, you know, if you learn a way to quickly look at something and see if it's factorable, then it can save you some time rather than going through the quadratic formula or, you know, just living your life based on what the calculator can give you. So you got to learn how to not be afraid of factoring. So what I'm going to do here is show you a method that actually a student taught me that works every time if something is factorable. Okay, and it's based on the idea based on the idea of addition as opposed to guessing and checking, and because students don't really like that all the time. I learned the guessing and checking and I like it, but this is a way of doing a problem that is the same every single time. Again, if it's possible to factor it. So how this works is we're going to take the first A value here and then the last C value here. So A is equal to 1 and C is equal to minus 6, as if you're going to put them in the quadratic formula, A and C. And that gives me a number of minus 6. Now I want to find two factors of minus 6 that add up to minus 1, which is this number right here. Two factors of minus 6 that add up to minus 1. Well, just think about it again. You got 2, and you got to think about the positive and negatives. You got 2 and negative 3. You got negative 2 and negative 3. You have 6 and negative 1 and negative 6 and 1. Do any of these add up to negative 1? Well, sorry, this should be plus 3, sorry. Do any of these add up to negative 1? Well, sure enough, minus 3 plus 2 adds up to negative 1. So I'm going to use that then to factor this over here. So I can rewrite this as x squared minus 3x plus 2x minus 6. And then these two expressions are the same now. They're exactly the same. Because if you think about it, if I combine like terms here, minus 3x plus 2x is minus x. So I've just rewritten the initial trinomial into a four-termed polynomial. Now what I'm going to do now is factor by grouping, which it seems like most students know how to do. So if I factor by grouping, I'm going to group the first two and I'm going to group the last two. Take out the greatest common factor. So the greatest common factor out of these two is x. The greatest common factor out of these two is 2. Now notice the thing that's left over here matches. So that's going to be a factor in my final factor trinomial. And then what's left is when I factor out an x minus 3 out of both of those, I'm left with an x plus 2. So now x squared minus x minus 6 factors to x plus 2, x minus 3.